Welcome to Open Air. I'm your host, Dawn Newton, here on 889 KPOV. Today our special guest is Shannon Bex, our own hometown girl, born and raised here in Oregon. She and her little sis, Aubrey O'Day, are taking the world by storm as Dumblonde. So myself and two of my friends, Danie Ward and Justin Buckles, we sat down with Miss Bex. We triple-teamed Miss Bex and caught up on her amazing career and all things Dumblonde. So Shannon Bex, what some people don't realize about you is that you're a native Oregonian.
I am, yeah.
So she...
Portland no West Beach, just Oregonian.
Well, now she's in Bend. She's really a country girl at heart. And
me too.
Yeah.
Justin. But the other thing that's really interesting is, I mean, Shannon's got quite a history with us here in Oregon. Portland Trailblazer dancer.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that, because Danie Ward, I'm going to hand her the phone. She thinks that maybe you two might have met during that time. So I'm going to
probably.
I mean, I was not a blazer dancer. Let's just start there. Did you dance with Stephanie Anderson with the Blazers?
No.
I think you had taken off, I think, by that point.
I think so too. Yeah, because I do remember Stephanie, but I didn't dance with Stephanie. So I was before that. We would talk about the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
old when I danced Blazers.
How old were you when you danced with Blazers? I mean, I know we're not talking about it.
No, I was 19. I started at 19 with them.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Time flies. I'm pretty sure that we were around the age of 21 or so and we met out, and I'm pretty sure there was alcohol involved and a lot of traipsing around Portland.
You know what? I'm sure that just happened in the most tasteful way.
That's all I can say about it.
That's right. That's all we need to say.
She giggles like she's so nice. Oh, she's so nice. Like
she's a force to be reckoned with. There's no doubt about it. So we've got Danity Kane. That was from MTV's Making the Band
with Diddy.
Mm-hmm. Was tough. And I always ask Shannon, can we call him? And she would never let me call him. We could never.
I changed my number for a reason, Dawn.
Yeah, she did. But, oh my gosh, and there's been so much that's happened since then, and now you and Aubrey O'Day are now known as Dumblonde.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us a little bit about that journey. I mean, you've seen it, you've lived it, you've breathed it, you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. What has this journey been like for you? Because you're certainly so much ahead of you.
How much time do we have? Y'all, if you had told me back when I was dancing for Blazers and singing the anthems, like the journey I would have ahead, I have to say I might have gotten I might have gotten scared. I might not have taken a step towards this path. It's a crazy business. Don't get me wrong. I am thankful for everything I've learned, and it's definitely made me very strong, very grown, very refined. But it is a very intimidating industry, and you have to be strong. I always thought I had thick skin just because I was polite and did what I needed to do and worked hard, which is great, and I still do that. But I'm truly now have an understanding of what thick skin means.
And talk a little bit too, that reality, because you, back in 2003 was Fame. And if you haven't seen it, y'all need to YouTube Shannon Bex Fame back in 2003.
Oh, Dawn shared it with us, by the way.
I've been watching all your videos, girl.
You know what's funny? It's so funny because Aubrey always tells people, she goes, yeah, I know, I do a lot of reality TV, but y'all don't remember, Shannon was the first one out of all of us to do reality TV. She was first pioneer of the DK girls to hit the TV. So I thought that was kind of funny. It's true.
Open the doors.
It does. It really does. And, I have a lot of friends that are up-and-coming musicians that are amazingly talented. And it's funny, the stigma that still presents itself for any true artist to go on to those reality shows. It's a scary thing because you feel like you're sacrificing something. But my biggest advice is stop, get out of your own way, go get the exposure. You are not going to make it if you don't get in front of the people. It's cute to do the little things, but you have to put yourself out there. And I think it's scary. And I think a lot of people hide behind their artistry because if you're a true artist and you come from the core, you will prove yourself. Nothing can prove it for you. You will prove yourself. Don't worry. Just take the leap. Just go out and try. That's my biggest advice. It really, truly, we even as a group talked about how we would not have been where we were with Danie Kane at all if we were a group just coming up from just the typical label and, grind and machine. The fact that we had TV, it catapulted us. We know that. We're not naive to that whatsoever.
You guys had immense success as Danie Kane, too. Share some of that with us, because I don't think everybody realizes the impact that Danie Kane had.
I don't think we even realized that at times. I think it's still a blur of even Puff. I joke about Puff a lot, but he always did treat me very well and with a lot of respect, and I learned a lot from him. I'm still understanding the lessons he was teaching back then. Now I'm still learning, and he was just trying to prepare us for a really intense industry. But he, unfortunately, he's a human, but he did beat us down so much that our own, inner strength, I don't think we really even saw our own shine a lot of the time, if that makes sense. We'll meet a lot of amazing people, managers, industry people are like, you guys don't even understand. You guys are so humble, which is great, but y'all don't understand, the impact you have had in this business. And I watched you, and I watched this journey, and we still don't even really know the capacity of what we accomplished, or even, I think, appreciated it for ourselves, number one on the Billboard, top 200 charts, debuting 2 albums back to back. That's insane. No girl group in history has ever done that. That's huge accomplishment. And I just think, we never really got to really enjoy those accomplishments. Even down to this day, Aubrey and I with Dumblonde, Rolling Stone named us the top 13 pop album of 2015, and we're independent. And we celebrated for the 20 minutes we heard about it, and then all of a sudden, okay, now what's next? We got to get on to the next.
We have
to stop ourselves and go, hey, this is huge. I appreciate it, absorb it.
That's a good question too, as far as, comes to mind. It's when are you able to enjoy your success? Do you ever get to stop and do that?
I really try to stop us to do it. I'll stop Aubrey sometimes, and we'll just look each other in the eyes, and I'm like, okay, we got to remember this moment. Let's just breathe and accept, and appreciate this moment. And not that we don't appreciate things, but you do, because we are independent. We handle everything. And I mean, we're independent from the way we handle distribution to our management, to our touring, to booking. Everything is us. And which is great, but it's also very difficult to focus on being an artist. And it's also very difficult to enjoy even the small things and the accomplishments, because you're already ready and on to the next. So, that's why I'm thankful being from Oregon. I come home, I have my horses, I have my little soul time where I try to absorb what it is that I just accomplished. So you really have to stay aware of that for yourself. Otherwise, it will be fleeting. And the thing about this business, and I think any business in general, is you're always on to the next. You're always on, okay, great, I won a Grammy, and now I want another one. We always were goal-driven, and that's why you succeed in this business. But I think sometimes it can be to your dismay, I think. So it's really important to stay aware and be appreciative always.
Well, and I know Danie Kane did attempt to come back together, and it didn't work. And for those of you that want to know why
it worked well. It was just not good enough.
Somebody couldn't keep their hands to themselves.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Y'all can Google that if you want to know what we're talking about.
I do have to say, I commended Obs. I was like, I don't know, girl. I have an older brother, so I can't say I would have handled it the way you did. It's just my instincts would have come in. You're probably lucky you're an only child. But, unfortunate, but, all things happen for a reason. And truly that last go around with DK, I was living with Obs. And still, when I go down to LA, I stay with Aubrey. And we were working and grinding and doing everything we can we booked the tour for the DK No Filter tour. We were doing everything we can to find opportunities for us as a group. And it was unfortunate that it wasn't fully appreciated on a larger scale, because we all deserved it. No one aside, we all deserved to do what we did. But it didn't pan out. But yet the blessing of it was Aubrey and I discovered we really, truly enjoyed working together, and we are great businesswomen, and we wanted to continue it. And that's why Dumblonde came about, because we didn't want to stop. We were literally in bed crying for a couple weeks. What do we do now? Oh my gosh, life is over, which is totally horrible perspective. As an artist, we get so dramatic sometimes. But, and they were like, well, why don't we just keep working? Oh, duh. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do this.
I want to know who inspires you. Are there musicians? Are there producers? Are there family members? Like, what drives you?
Oh, gosh. That is a very good question. And I find inspiration in so many things and so many people in my life for different reasons. And of course, I won't bore you guys with that long list, but I have an amazing family, mom and dad, hardworking, very supportive. My brother, he's super creative. And it's a very, my family's amazing. Always has been. Even my step-parents, like I can never say I haven't had the full support of my friends and my family. And artists, you know, my maturity of respect towards artists and what they do has changed a lot. You know, it's really easy and typical for me to say, I loved, you know, Janet growing up. I still love Janet. I still think she's incredible. But that's a very broad person. Like, everyone can say that. Like, to really dig deep and find those indie artists that, like, have really grinded and found themselves and are, like, touring, but just out of pure passion and love. And this is going to sound so off the mark, but Mark Broussard, I don't know if you guys know who Mark Broussard is. He is like a soul, he's ridiculous. And he, you know, he's 26,000 followers on Twitter. He's not like this big mass. He had a hit on the radio a few years back, but he is consistent and he writes and he is passionate. Like, when people like perform with just their soul, like, it's so inspiring, and they just don't get in their way. And unfortunately, you know, I'm in the very business that gets in our own way, but we tend to. You know, it's fun. It's fun to, like, dress up. It's fun to, like, do the clothes, and it's fun to do this, but we tend to start to keep up with each other. And before you know it, you're not even yourself anymore. Yep. So when these artists can really stay just true to their core, like, that is what inspires me.
Now, didn't you meet Janet?
We did, and she's the sweetest. She was like crying with us and for us over like just what we had been through. And she's like, her heart is so pure, like it's amazing. And she came and watched our rehearsal. There was no cameras, there was nothing. She just was there to support us and just talk to us. And she took the time to do that. It was truly incredible, and I still can't believe it happened, honestly.
I wouldn't be able to believe that happened.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
I wouldn't have been able to perform or do anything. I would have just
staring.
No. It was so funny because our choreographer, Gil, who was her choreographer and dancer at the time, he was ours at the time, we were all rehearsing. We had no idea Janet was coming. He's like, I'm going to go grab my friends. We're like, oh, okay. So we're all like kind of like marking it, morning time. We're like, whatever, we're getting ready for tour. Janet walks in. I swear we were all auditioning for her. We were like singing lower than we've ever got. We were singing harder than we ever sang. Like, it was, I would have to laugh because we went into full throttle, all five of us.
Just bring Janet everywhere.
Oh my gosh, right?
It's true.
You think costume, no, Janet is inspiring for sure.
When you come home, do you get to just be you, or do you have to be this? I mean, do you get? I watched videos where paparazzi's following you everywhere, and I think, oh, I don't know if I could handle that. And you handle it so well and so gracefully. But when you come home, is that something you experience, or do you get to actually take that break?
You know, I get to take a break, and I definitely wanted to live back in my hometown and in Oregon again because of that. Oregon, y'all know, Oregon doesn't really care about celebrities. Which I love. If anything, you get treated more like, oh, I'm sorry, what? Can you pick that up for me? Okay, good.
Right.
Let's go.
Which is nice, right? Keeps you grounded.
So nice, and I would never, it does. And I never would expect not to be, but it's just really funny. It is completely, it's right next to Cali, but it is a completely different environment when you're here. So, of course, you have people get excited that do recognize you, and that's awesome. Like, I would never turn anyone down or away from pictures or just talk to me. Like, that's why you're here.
Right. Well, and then, too, if you're home, you get to have a little more control over that instead of everybody just bombarding you.
You do. You definitely do. And paparazzis don't really show up here. I heard, though, probably about 3 months ago, I guess Bieber came through town, and it's hilarious because he ended up skateboarding at, like, one of our outlet malls, and I was, like, embarrassed because I'm like, we have a beautiful city, and you go boarding at an outlet mall? Like, like, okay, cool. Like, it's just funny. But of course, the local news station tries to go get quotes, and I'm like, just stop, just don't.
Why does the media have to make it?
It's a great town.
So Shannon, let's fast forward to Dumblonde. Tell us about that collaboration, you and Aubrey O'Day.
Well, when we started off, we didn't know exactly what we wanted to call the group. We just knew we wanted to work together, and the biggest frustration we had was fighting against stereotypes of this industry that just kind of pushed, we were bookends as far as like our personalities and things like that. However, we're very similar in our core and how we work and grind and business, and we have great respect for, we don't always think or believe or anything the same, but we completely respect each other. And that's what makes this a very unique, we always say yin and yang experience. We're sisters. And so when we were doing this, though, we were like, how do we come up with a name that can really just kind of define against the stereotype that we've been dealing with? So we're like, you know what? We're businesswomen and we're so not dumb, so let's call ourselves Dumblonde. And it kind of took off from there. And we knew it was going to be very delicate developing the sound. And we had an amazing, amazing producer who we met at radio. In fact, he just did a remix of our whole album, and then the Air production team. It is insane, the talent that comes from this man, and he has no idea how talented he is. We had a great co-writer, Candace Pillay, and then Dem Joints also worked on our album. But we wanted the team to be really tight and really close, and we wanted chemistry to be right, because when you get in the studio, if you start to just try and write a top line for the radio, then you're going to maybe get something cute, but you're going to miss the organic, just passion of it. And so we put our cell phones away. We didn't even get on our laptops. We just focused on our little cave and wrote. We were typing out notes on the keyboard. We were making sounds with our voices, just anything we could, just to step away from what the kind of typical normal, I guess, machine does. And we were all willing to open ourselves up to the process. And we had an incredible album that we released last September. It hasn't been a year yet, and it hit number 1 on the Heat Seekers charts on Billboard and was one of the top 200 albums. It really did amazing for just an independent record that we just wanted to do for the art of it. And the visuals have been amazing. Yeah, we really took care of each little branding that we did, from the logo to the pictures, editing, to even the filters you put on your pictures. It all matters. Every little inkling matters.
Well, and you guys did tour too. You went to several Prides. Tell us about how those were. Especially,
we just got. We did Chicago Pride, the middle of June. That was amazing. We love going to Pride. It was just there's so much great energy. The crowd is always excited to see us. We're always jumping and crowd surfing and taking shots on stage with them. It's probably one of my favorite tours that we do. And we did do East Coast and the West Coast tour. We did House of Blues in Anaheim. We sold out the Roxy for our first show. And we love to perform with our dancers, but we also have a live band. When we can bring them along, we bring them along. And that is completely unique to anything DK had done. We're really grateful when we can have a live band.
I want to see photos of you crowd surfing.
Yeah, me too.
And taking shots.
Video.
You want to? Okay, I think I have some. I'll send them to you, Don. I do. I'll send them to you. And I never used to crowd surf. Aubrey, she's my little sis, so she's like, let's go. And I'm like, I'm okay. I'll help you get back on stage. And then one time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And now I love it. I do it every time. Now she can't get me to stop. And she's like, dude, 3 times, stop.
This whole show is crowd surfing.
Well, and we see Aubrey on reality shows. I want to see you on some reality shows. I could see her Dancing with the Stars. I could see
Big Brother.
Oh my gosh.
I would love that. I would love
Big Brother would be cool.
A judge on So You Think You Can Dance, mentoring. I mean,
that would be fun.
I keep telling her.
Let's do it. Let's get together.
Okay, Justin, we'll work on that. He's got some connections too. I mean, Shannon doesn't need our connection. She's already got it. She
knows what she's doing.
She does. She knows what she's doing. But we'll just be the cheerleaders on the side. We'll be the ones that keep calling in and voting for her.
We'll write letters.
So when is Dumblonde going back out on tour? Are we gonna? I know you were up in Portland last winter.
Right, December.
Yes, we were in Portland, and we were
Mm-hmm.
actually December, So then we hit a couple spot dates. We're actually getting ready to release a single off of our next project. So that's been our focus right now. But we have some spot dates coming up again. But we haven't put together a full tour yet, just because we want to revamp what we had and keep giving you guys great content. So we're going to be pushing a single very soon.
Awesome. Well, we'll get it, and we'll be playing it here on our show too. Well, Shannon, we really appreciate you calling in and letting us chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.